If you just heard the word marketing and felt your stomach twist, you're not alone. Most photographers hate the idea of selling. It feels awkward. It feels pushy. It feels like the part of business we'd all rather skip. But what if it didn't have to feel that way? What if marketing could actually feel natural? So, like a conversation instead of a pitch. That's what I want to talk about today, how to market your digital products without feeling like you're tricking anyone. Because the truth is, good marketing isn't about convincing people to buy something they don't need. It's about helping them find something that truly helps them. And as photographers, we already know how to help people. We just have to translate that skill into our words. When I started creating digital products, I froze every time I had to talk about them. I'd post once, then feel weird about posting again. I didn't want people to think I was being salesy. I didn't want to sound desperate. I just wanted them to understand why what I made could help them. The problem was I was overthinking it. Selling isn't about shouting, it's about showing. Showing how your product solves a problem, showing why you created it, showing what happens when someone uses it. When you focus on showing instead of selling, everything changes. You stop trying to convince, you start trying to connect. The first mindset shift I had to make was this. I wasn't bothering people, I was helping them. When you create something that genuinely solves a problem, it's not pushy to talk about it. It's a service. Imagine if your favorite creator hid something that could make your business easier just because they were afraid to sound salesy. You'd miss out. That's what happens when you don't talk about your work. You have to believe in what you've made. That's the foundation of good marketing. If you don't believe it helps, no one else will. But when you do, your confidence naturally shows through. You don't need hype, you just need honesty. When I talk about my products now, I tell the story behind them. I say why I made them, who they're for, and how they fit into real life. I don't write long sales pitches, I just share the truth. For example, when I released my client communication templates, I didn't post. Buy my new template pack today. I said, I made this because I used to spend hours rewriting the same client emails every week. These are the ones that finally worked. That one sentence got more attention than any fancy caption I'd written before. Because it was real. People connect with real. They can sense when you're speaking from experience. They can tell when you care about helping them. That's what sells. Not pressure, not scarcity, not polished ads, realness. The other shift that helped me was realizing that repetition isn't annoying. It's necessary. Most people won't see your product the first time you post. Algorithms hide things. People scroll past. That's why you have to talk about your work more than once, not with copy and paste captions, but with different angles. You can share the same product 10 different ways without sounding repetitive. Tell a story one day, share a behind the scenes another, show a testimonial, share a problem it solves. Talking about, what it also inspired it. Sure, every post becomes a small piece of a bigger conversation. And that's what ethical marketing really is. It's a conversation, like you're not shouting, you're inviting, you're saying, hey, this helped me. Maybe it'll help you, it'll help you too. And that energy feels completely different from buy now before it's gone. The truth is, most photographers don't hate marketing. They hate bad marketing. They hate the kind that feels fake. But good marketing doesn't feel fake because it's not manipulation, it's storytelling. And as photographers, storytelling is literally what we do best. We tell stories with light, color, and emotion every day. You just have to use those same instincts in your words. When I started thinking of my posts like stories instead of ads, my entire approach changed. I stopped worrying about selling. I started focusing on helping people understand. I'd ask myself, how can I show them what this looks like in real life? That question works every time. For example, instead of saying this posing guide is available now, I'd say, before I made this posing guide, I used to freeze up halfway through family sessions. I'd forget my flow. I made this to help me stay calm and confident. Now I share it with other photographers who feel the same way. That's not marketing. That's sharing, and sharing builds trust. Marketing without feeling gross comes down to 3 things: clarity, consistency, and compassion. Clarity means your message is simple to people know what it is, who it's for, and how it helps. Consistency means you keep showing up, not once, but regularly, even when you're tired of talking about it. Compassion means you understand that your audience isn't lazy or uninterested. They're just overwhelmed. You meet them where they are. When you use those 3 things together, you build connection. And connection builds sales naturally. It's not about chasing people. It's about creating an ecosystem where they find you and stay. You also don't need to sound like anyone else. You can throw out the idea of the perfect caption or sales script. You just need your voice. If your natural tone is calm, be calm. If it's funny, be funny. If it's educational, be that. When your personality shows through, people remember you. The best thing I ever did for my marketing was stop trying to write like a marketer. I started writing like a mentor. Like I was talking to one of my students over coffee. I'd say, here's what worked for me and here's what didn't. Here's what I wish I'd known sooner. That tone is magnetic. It pulls in the right people, people who actually want what you offer. And that's another secret. You don't want everyone to buy from you. You want the right people to buy from you, the ones who will use what you make and get results, the ones who will tell others because it genuinely helped them. That's sustainable growth, not chasing trends or random clicks. When I first started, I tried every kind of post: tutorials, stories, launches, reels. What worked best? The honest ones, the ones where I talked about the real struggles behind creating and selling as a photographer. People related to that. They didn't want perfection. They wanted truth. And once I realized that, I stopped over polishing. I'd post real behind the scenes shots of me designing in Canva. I'd show messy notes. I'd admit when I was nervous. That made people root for me. And those same people became customers later. Your audience doesn't expect you to have it all figured out. They just want to see that you care about helping them. That's the heart of ethical marketing: caring. You care enough to create something helpful, and you care enough to share it. When I started focusing on helping instead of selling, everything felt lighter. It didn't feel like work anymore. I didn't dread posting. I wanted to, because I wasn't trying to convert anyone. I was trying to serve them. That's where we'll stop for now, because before you can create a strategy, you have to believe that you can market from a place of honesty. You don't need tricks, you don't need hype, you just need to show up with intention and talk about your products like you believe in them. Because you do. That's the energy that sells without feeling like selling. When you understand that marketing is just connection, you start to see opportunities everywhere. Every story you tell, every email you send, every behind the scenes you share, they're all chances to connect. You don't have to plan a huge campaign. You just have to show up and talk about what you're doing in a genuine way. Think about the last time you bought something online. You probably didn't buy because of an ad. You bought because someone showed you why it mattered. Maybe they explained the problem. Maybe they told a story. Maybe they made you feel seen. That's what you want to do for your audience, make them feel seen. When you talk about your product, focus on the story behind it. Where did it come from? What inspired you to make it? What problem were you trying to solve? Those stories make people care. For example, I once posted about my client communication templates and started the caption with, "I used to dread checking my email." That's all it took, because every photographer reading it knew that feeling. By the end of the post, I didn't even have to ask people to buy. They wanted to. They understood the emotion behind it. That's what honest marketing does. It takes people from, "That's nice," to, "Oh my gosh, I need that." You can use that same storytelling approach in so many places. Instagram posts, Facebook updates, emails, even product descriptions. Don't just tell people what it is, tell them why it exists. Here's another simple trick. When you're writing about your product, use you more than I. It shifts. Now, shifts the focus. I made this template pack becomes, you'll never have to rewrite another client email again. See the difference? One talks about you, the other speaks directly to them. That one word changes everything. It also helps to use real examples. If someone messages you to say your guide helped them, share that. You don't need to brag. Just tell the story. Say, a photographer messaged me this morning saying my pricing guide saved her hours of editing time. It's social proof, but it feels like conversation. The best part is that ethical marketing doesn't require pressure. You don't need countdown timers or only 3 left. You can create urgency through relevance. You can say, this will help you get ready for busy season, or if you're prepping for fall minis, this will save your sanity. That feels real. That's timing, not manipulation. When I shifted to this kind of marketing, I noticed something beautiful. The right people started, finding me naturally. I didn't have to chase. I didn't have to cold pitch. The more genuine my messaging became, the more my community grew, because authenticity attracts the right audience, always. One of the easiest ways to build that authenticity is through content that teaches. Teach before you sell. If your product helps photographers with workflow, make a post with one small workflow tip. Then, at the end, mention that your full system is available in your guide. You've already provided value, so the mention doesn't feel forced. It feels like the next step. This is my favorite kind of marketing because it doesn't rely on being loud. It relies on being helpful. Every time you teach, you prove your credibility. You show that you know what you're talking about. That's what builds trust. Another shift that helped me was learning to speak in outcomes, not features. People don't care that your guide has 20 pages or 5 checklists. They care about what it does for them. What does their life look like after using it? Do they feel less stressed? Do they feel more professional? That's what you talk about. For example, instead of saying this guide includes 12 client emails, say this guide helps you stop overthinking what to say and sound confident every time you hit send. That's the difference between features and outcomes, and that difference sells ethically. Let's talk about something else that trips up a lot of photographers. Confidence. Talking about your own work out loud can feel weird. You worry about sounding full of yourself. You don't want to come off as arrogant. But confidence isn't arrogance. Confidence is clarity. It's knowing what your product does and being proud of it. When you talk about what you've made, you're not saying, I'm the best. You're saying, this works. That's honest. That's fair. And that's what people want. I'll be real with you. There will always be someone louder, someone flashier, someone who sells more, but you don't have to compete on noise. You can compete on trust. People who feel safe with you will stay with you. Trust doesn't come from discounts or scarcity. It comes from showing up consistently and keeping your word. It comes from talking about your product like it's part of your bigger purpose. I see marketing as an act of service. It's part of the work. If I don't tell people what I've made, they'll never know it exists. And that means I can't help them. That's what keeps me showing up. Once you see marketing as service, you stop worrying about what people think. You realize you're not interrupting them. You're inviting them to make their lives easier. This mindset works for all kinds of marketing: emails, reels, captions, even podcasts. If you're sharing your digital products, keep it simple. Start with a story, show the benefit, end with an invitation. That's the flow that always feels good. When I talk about my digital resources, I think about my students. I imagine them sitting on their couch late at night, feeling stuck. Then I write as if I'm talking directly to that one person. That's who I'm here for. That's who you're here for too. Because good marketing isn't about reaching everyone. It's about reaching the right person at the right time. When you do that, you never have to feel gross about selling again. Now, let's talk about what comes after the post, because once you start sharing your products regularly, you'll notice something. Some posts land right away and some don't. That's normal. The goal isn't to go viral. The goal is to stay visible. When people see you show up week after week, they start to trust you. They remember you. Even if they don't buy right away, they're watching, they're learning from you, they're getting familiar with your name and your tone. That familiarity is powerful. It's what turns followers into buyers over time. Most people need to see something multiple times before they act. They're not ignoring you, they're just not ready yet. Your job isn't to convince them, it's to stay consistent so you're there when they are ready. That's what ethical marketing looks like in real life, like consistency without pressure. You don't need to chase anyone, you just keep showing up. I like to think of marketing like watering plants. You can't dump a gallon of water on a seed once and expect it to grow overnight. You water it a little regularly. You give it light, you trust the process. That's exactly how your marketing works. Small effort, repeated often. If you only post when you're launching something, people will tune out. But if you talk about your products in between, like just casually, like part of your world, they'll stay interested. That's how you build long-term connection instead of short bursts of attention. You can weave your digital products into your everyday storytelling. Mention them when you talk about your process. Show them in use during your client work. Share how you made them better. That's not selling. That's sharing your journey. The photographers who do this best are the ones who treat their audience like real people. They're not chasing sales. They're building community. They answer comments. They give advice. They listen. That energy always comes back around. If you focus on relationships instead of revenue, the revenue will come anyway because people buy from people they trust. Another piece of advice, don't hide your offers. Make them easy to find. Pin a post on your Instagram with your products, add links to your bio, mention them in your email signature. Don't make people search, make it easy for them to say yes when they're ready. It's not pushy to be visible, it's professional. Now there's another layer to this, your mindset when a product doesn't sell as well as you hoped, because it'll happen. Every creator has flops. You'll pour your heart into something, post it proudly, and hear crickets. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means the timing wasn't right or the message didn't connect yet. When that happens, resist the urge to delete it. Don't scrap it, revisit it, look at your post. Does it clearly explain what problem it solves? Is the title clear? Is the first sentence interesting? Sometimes one small tweak changes everything. You can always bring a product back later, change the title, update the visuals, repost with a new story. I've done that dozens of times. Sometimes a product that sold poorly at launch becomes one of your best sellers a few months later. People just need to see it at the right moment. That's why I keep saying consistency is everything. Not perfection, not hype, just showing up. Here's the part no one tells you. Marketing gets easier the more you do it. The fear fades, the nerves quiet down. You stop worrying so much about what people think, and you start focusing on who you're helping. You begin to enjoy it. You start having fun with it. Because the truth is, talking about your work should feel good. You've built something you believe in. You've poured time, thought, and experience into it. That deserves to be shared. When I finally let myself believe that, everything shifted. I stopped waiting for approval. I stopped trying to sound like everyone else. I started writing and talking in my own tone, calm, supportive, real. That's when my audience started to grow faster. And not because my strategy changed, but because my energy did. People can feel authenticity through the screen. They can feel when you mean what you say. That's why your story matters so much. Every time you talk about why you made something, you're inviting people into your world. You're reminding them that behind every PDF, every template, every guide, there's a human being, one who's been where they are and wants to make their life easier. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the expert. You just have to be honest. I want you to start thinking of marketing as storytelling with purpose. You're not just posting for the algorithm, you're documenting your creative process. You're letting people see the behind the scenes of what it takes to build something useful. If you ever feel stuck on what to say, talk about what you're learning, share what surprised you, talk about what you do differently next time. Those kinds of posts pull people in because they're human. They make people feel less alone. And if you want to make your marketing feel even more natural, tie it to emotion. Not fake emotion, real moments, like how it felt to make your first sale, or the relief of realizing you don't have to rely only on sessions anymore. Those little glimpses of your world build deep trust. You can also bring your audience into the process. Ask questions. Say, I'm working on my next digital resource. What kind of templates would help you most right now? That does two things at once. It gives you feedback and it makes your audience feel invested. When people feel included, they're more likely to support you later. Marketing doesn't have to be one-sided. It can be a collaboration. You're not performing for your followers. You're creating with them. That's how you make marketing human again. You turn it into conversation. One last thing. I know how easy it is to compare yourself to others who seem to sell effortlessly. But what you don't see is the years of quiet consistency behind their success. The late nights, the small updates, the times they kept showing up when no one was watching, you're doing that too, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Every post, every mention, every story, it's building something, it's planting seeds. And one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. You'll see how all those small, honest efforts added up to a business that runs on trust instead of pressure. That's what sustainable marketing looks like. It's not about constant launches or endless selling. It's about creating genuine, connections that keep growing over time. Like when you market from a place of service, your business starts to feel lighter. You stop dreading posts, you stop chasing numbers, you start focusing on people. And people are, what make this whole thing worth it. You built your business on relationships. This is just an extension of that. So keep showing up, keep sharing your story, keep helping. That's how you grow, with honesty, not hype. If you want to keep learning how to do this in a way that feels good and sustainable, come join us inside the Savvy Shutterbug community on Skool. It's where we talk about systems, strategy, and real connection, not scripts. You can also explore my courses and digital resources anytime at savvyshutterbug.com. You don't need to fake it, you don't need to force it, you just need to tell the truth, your truth, and that's what will always sell the best.